I recently started reading One Punch Man, and I was thinking to myself the entire time, dang, Saitama is not relatable at all, but I still love reading this manga. One of the main reasons I started reading One Punch Man was for the art. One Punch Man, in my opinion, does a really good job showing motion in their art style. You can have these fights that look beautiful in the anime, which I didn't watch, I read the manga, I'm sorry. But you have these like fights that look really cool and well done, and you have these panels where they're zooming out and zooming. It's like the manga is like a camera, and like it's moving around, and you see all these shaky effects on it and blurry effects. It looks so good. That was the main reason I started reading though. And this manga has been good so far. It's slowly climbing the list of some of my favorites. But while I was reading One Punch Man, I was thinking to myself, Saitama's a pretty overpowered character, and I don't really relate to him at all. So why do I watch him? I don't really know where I was going with that. Anyway, I thought it'd be a good time to talk about some of my favorite overpowered characters in anime, and also what makes them so based and awesome. And a little bit of just random nonsense also, like what makes a good overpowered character good and good and stuff. If you're trying to write an overpowered character, you can either do this as like the main character or as a side character. Mob from Mob Psycho, is my opinion, is one of the best takes on the overpowered character. Mob is a kind of character that doesn't really care about his power so much. And I've already talked about this on a video on the channel, go check it out if you want. But Mob's a character who has been blessed with super strength and power and to be an Esper, and he's really godlike powers. You see, Mob's more concerned about his personal life and his relationships because he can't go talk to the girl 5 minutes away. Finally, a relatable main character. Nah, but for real. Mob is genuinely one of the best overpowered main character because his main goal isn't focused around his power. That's merely just a side attraction that makes him so fun to watch, and just so that people can make cool edits of him on TikTok. Mob is sick, man. So rule number 1, if you're writing an overpowered character, you need to have him with some other interest. His main story can't revolve around his power all the time. Like, there needs to be an alternate reason why you're watching this character. When it comes to a character like Saitama, you're watching him because he's funny and because of his interactions with his students and other characters, which makes him interesting. This is editing version of Landon. So I was editing this part of the audio, and I realized I said that people only watch Saitama because he's funny in his interactions. I don't know what sort of philosophical crap I'm on. Saitama is really cool. He has sick powers. When you're watching someone like Mob, you're watching him because he has a different interest in his life. So it's almost more fun at times to see his growth and development through his personal life with his friends like Reagan, Hanazawa, girls at school, just this kind of thing. So you need to have a driving force to watch this character besides the main attraction of their power. Obviously it's fun during the beginning and start of your show or manga or whatever you're doing, but it's fun to see the protagonist barrel through all these villains and stuff and fight all these cool villains. And no matter how good the art style is or how good the anime is and how good it looks, you're gonna get bored. It's not gonna be fun to watch someone punch through people 5 billion times and just win every single time and open and shut book the end. The thing's over. You're not gonna wanna watch that. So you want something with a compelling side cast. And one of my favorite things of this is Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. So here we have Gojo. He's supposed to be the comedic sensei of this anime, and he is pretty funny, and he's also very powerful. He's the strongest person. And while I wouldn't say Gojo is like an overpowered character, because there are people who can rival his strength now in the manga, but for the anime at least, he is overpowered. Generally, most of the fights go this way. Hold out until Gojo gets there. Also, bro, I just noticed this. Hold on, it's editing Landon back again. Why Gojo got this, like, Calvin and Hobbes looking hair? Like, bro, is Calvin's mom your barber? Let's get back to the video. And this makes for a very entertaining story, but what I like about Gojo's character writing is that they don't make him the main focus of the show. They made him so overpowered that he's more of a character who just shows up when they need him, and the main focus is on way other characters, because you're not going to want to see Gojo punch through people well, actually I would. Now, another take on the overpowered character I think is really interesting is a character who trains to get there. You see, a lot of characters these days represent about the same sort of things. They all have X goal in mind or X thing that they want to achieve, and this isn't a bad thing by any means. I'm not trying to belittle shonen protagonists, but they want to be king of the pirates, I want to be Hokage, I want to kill the Titans. Well, that one kind of isn't real, whatever. But it's the character who trains to get there and trains for their thing and prepares and goes on this long journey to finally become this strong and overpowered being. But this is where you can run into a problem. The Mary Sue character. Mary Sue is a character trait that is given to characters who seemingly have broken abilities and pretty much no training or any sort of preparation or anything that would give any sort of reason to believe they would have this power. One of the best examples of this is Rey Palpatine Skywalker, whatever you want to call her, from Star Wars, the sequels. You see many times in Star Wars, Rey doesn't really go through any sort of training. In Rise of Skywalker, she literally skips her training. It just skips her training arc. She just held down X, skipped the training arc, skipped the cutscenes. Oh, look, now she's tearing down battleships in the sky. You can't write your character to be this overpowered being, but have no sort of reason to get there. But when you do write them an overpowered being with no sort of reason to get there, there has to be some reason why we want to watch this character. When a character like Rey, and I just am tearing into Star Wars now at this point, I don't care. When you get to a character like Rey, she has no reason for you to be watching her besides she is British and has no family, and you might feel bad for her because your dad left to get the milk also, and you're like, oh my gosh, Rey is such a relatable person. I love this character. Basically what I'm saying is there has to be a fine line. You can't have your character be overpowered for no reason, but be trying to drive some sort of story narrative the whole time. I think if you're going to have an overpowered character, the two best ways to do it are, one, not really take yourself seriously. Turn it into a comedy and have the focus be on other things rather than the power. One Punch Man does probably the best job at this, along with Mob Psycho, and there is some comedic value to this, and I just love how they use his overpoweredness as more of a comedy device and not as some sort of oh, Saitama's gotta train to find the big monster. Same thing with Mob. They turn Mob and they don't really take itself super seriously. Just look at the end of season 1. This villain's kind of a joke, and instead of taking the focus on Mob, a character who would easily blast through them, they do something else and give the power to Reagan, who fights them instead, and it's 1,000 times more entertaining. There's honestly tons of points I could get to in talking about this topic because there's so many different angles you can look at this from, and there's probably some loopholes in what I've said so far, so don't get it twisted. These shonen protagonists are good, I like them, but it's just that overpowered characters bring such a fun element, and I really wish that more people would write them better, like some of these are. Maybe these sound like weird and confusing points and a lot of hoops you have to jump through to make your protagonist or character an overpowered one,